Congress never sees this kind of spending porn, does it, until after the fact. Is that correct?
Senator, that's correct.
It's not in our budget. Is that correct?
Senator, that is correct.
But have you ever gone to a health care provider and then you get a bill saying you owe us $1,400? And you go, what the hell? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
But this debt's being reported to rating agencies when people can't pay it, and then their credit gets ruined, and it makes it even harder for them to live. The federal government spends $50 million to try to teach a neighborhood squirrel to code. And I think, how did that stuff get in there? I sit on the Appropriations Committee. We're supposed to put together a budget. Sometimes we do. This year we probably won't, because my friend and colleague, Senator Schumer, wants to shut down the government, to create chaos, to try to get the Graham Plattner wing of his party to love him. But I digress. That stuff's not in the budget when we vote on the budget. Where's it come from?
Well, Senator, I appreciate the question, and you've been a champion on these issues, and I would note your work on the rescissions process, highlighting some of these outrageous spending we've seen in the past. So I think this is why our updates to 2 CFR, which governs grant making across the federal enterprise, is so critical.
Yeah, tell the American people what that is.
Absolutely. Appreciate the opportunity.
Like you're talking to a 10th grader.
Appreciate the opportunity to. So fundamentally, some of the most important things are to ensure that grants are not going to divisive DEI ideologies. They're not going to support illegal immigration. They're not going to support radical gender ideologies. Those are pretty fundamental.
And stupid stuff, right?
And stupid stuff generally, yes, sir. I think the arbiter of ensuring that things do not go to stupid stuff, as you put it, is ultimately a political appointee. One of the president's people that is associated with the administration, appointed by the president, comes in and does a final issuance review before grant dollars go out. That's fundamentally about accountability. It's not intended to usurp peer review or anything like that. It's about making sure that
Let me stop you for a second, Mr. Duncan, because we're going to run out of time. Congress never sees this kind of spending porn, does it, until after the fact. Is that correct?
Senator, that's correct.
It's not in our budget. Is that correct?
Senator, that is correct.
But somebody in the administrative state decides that they ought to spend $25 million to study whether a man can breastfeed. Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, that's what I mean by stupid stuff. Do you consider that stupid stuff?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And what you're going to do at OMB is try to stop the stupid stuff. Try to find out who made that grant and say, no. We're not going to spend money on this. And by the way, if you do it again, you're fired. Is that right? That's what you guys are going to do?
Yes, sir.
It's about time. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, let me ask you one other question. When moms and dads lie down to sleep at night and can't, right now, at this point in time, what's the first thing they're worried about?
I would imagine it would be the ability to support their families.
Yes, sir. Cost of living. Part of that's inflation. Look, I remember inflation's very sticky. I remember when it started, it got up 9%. You know, President Trump didn't father this child, but he's got to raise it. Cost of living. Thank you for being straightforward. Now, have you ever gone to let me preface this by saying, I've got two doctors, brothers who are doctors, so I love healthcare providers. But have you ever gone to a healthcare provider and then you get a bill saying you owe us $1,400? And you go, what the hell? Has that ever happened to you?
In today's heated Senate hearing, Senator John Kennedy took aim at wasteful government spending, rising living costs, and the growing burden of healthcare debt. What started as a discussion about federal grants quickly turned into a broader debate about how Washington spends taxpayer dollars and whether ordinary Americans are getting a fair deal. Kennedy opened by questioning how bizarre federal projects receive funding in the first place, that he pointed to reports of taxpayer dollars being spent on research projects that many Americans would consider unnecessary, and asked a simple question. If Congress isn't approving these expenditures directly, who is? Administration officials explained that many of these grants move through federal agencies and regulatory processes before the money is distributed. But Kennedy argued that Congress often doesn't see the details until after the funds have already been spent. The senator then pressed officials on what he repeatedly called stupid stuff, funded by taxpayers. He argued that someone inside the government should be responsible for reviewing questionable grants before millions of dollars go out the door. Officials responded that new oversight measures are intended to increase accountability and give agency leadership more authority to stop wasteful spending before it happens. Kennedy welcomed the idea, saying Americans deserve common-sense oversight when it comes to their hard-earned tax dollars. If you're enjoying this breakdown, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest political coverage.
Yes, sir, it actually has.
It's happened to a lot of Americans because the way many of our hospital, our healthcare providers bill makes no sense. And so they turn it over to a collection agency, and the collection agency says, look, you pay this $1,400. We can't explain. We won't explain to you how it got here. If we did, we'd have to drown you in the Pacific. But if you don't pay it, we're going to turn it into the credit rating agencies and ruin your credit. Now, if we want to help the American people, why don't we, at least for a period of time, say healthcare debt is not going to be reported to the rating agencies? We're not saying you don't have to pay it. We're not saying it's not due. We're not saying you can't be sued. But this debt's being reported to rating agencies when people can't pay it, and then their credit gets ruined, and it makes it even harder for them to live. That's a swell idea, isn't it?
Senator, I think the administration has been very committed to price transparency and ensuring that.
Yeah,
folks
but what
aren't hit
about
with
that
this.
idea?
I'm happy to take that back and determine the administration's position on that matter.
How about it advocating for it?
I'm happy to work with you on this matter, absolutely.
Kennedy then shifted the conversation to everyday concerns. When he asked what keeps American families awake at night, the answer was immediate: the cost of living. The senator agreed, pointing to inflation and the financial pressures facing households across the country. According to Kennedy, Washington should spend less time funding questionable projects and more time addressing the economic challenges affecting working families. The hearing ended with a discussion about healthcare debt. Kennedy described the frustration many Americans feel when they receive unexpected medical bills that are difficult to understand and even harder to pay. He proposed preventing medical debt from immediately damaging a person's credit score, arguing that families struggling with healthcare costs shouldn't face additional financial punishment. Officials expressed a willingness to review the idea and continue discussions. By the end of the hearing, Kennedy's message was clear: Americans deserve better. Accountability from Washington, better protection from rising costs, and better solutions for families struggling with medical debt. What do you think? Is government spending focused on the right priorities? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.